Hi, I'm Steve Krentz for Gibson's Learn and Master Guitar, and welcome to this month's video tip. Now, today we're going to be learning a simple idea that can create some amazing chord sounds that are completely unique that only the guitar can do. Well, the idea is simple. Take a familiar chord form that uses open strings and move it to a different place on the neck to create a completely different chord. So, for example, let me get my sound cleaned up here. If I did a normal C chord, regular old open C chord, but I'm going to take this same form and I'm just going to shift it up 2 steps. Well, look what happens. I end up with this really cool sounding D suspended chord because I still have that open string G ringing out. So I'm just playing the inner 4 strings, or inner 4 strings. I'm not playing this last open E there. I take those inner 4 strings, move it up, same finger pattern, but now that open G is still in there, so I end up creating a whole new colorful chord. And that's the idea. Now, not every combination, not every place you move this is going to be able to work. That doesn't work too well. That has a little bit of a clash in there, so not all of them aren't going to work as well. In fact, most aren't going to work, but some of them are going to create some beautiful chords that you can end up using. So let's take a look at another one. We've used the C to get a good creative sounding D suspended chord. Let's go to it. What about an open E chord? Well, there I've got 3 open strings, the E, the B, and the high E. If I take this form and just move my hand up a half step, I end up with this kind of exotic Spanish sounding chord. And all that is an E chord. Move it up a half step. Maybe 2 more steps above that. Kind of an E minor form there. Back to that F with the E. I end up with that Spanish Mediterranean sort of a sound. Well, if I go up even further, if I go up to maybe the 6th position and play it there, then I end up with a cool sounding A chord with an E in the bass. If I move it up 2 more, I end up with a cool sounding B chord with an E in the bass. Really great, creative, colorful sounding chords, and I was basically doing one form and moving it around. Well, let's try some more. What if I did a power chord? Regular old E power chord, kind of an E5, first finger here on the 7th fret, 5th string, 3rd finger on the 9th fret, 4th string, pinky down here on the 3rd string, 9th fret. But I combine these, I add these open strings again, this open E, open B, open high E. That comes out to be a cool sounding E5 chord. Well, if I move that down, let's say I move it down here, let's just see what we get. Well, if I use it starting on the 5th string B, play that, I end up with a rich sounding B suspended chord. If I move that up a half step, I end up with this great sounding C major 7th chord. Up 1 more step, I end up with a C sharp minor 11th chord. Now, don't let all of the chord names throw you off. Just enjoy the sounds of the chord. You're finding that it'll get rather complex in the chord names because you're getting such exotic chords. Just enjoy the sound of them and figure out whether it's major or minor. This one functions as a minor. The next one would be a D6-9, which is kind of a major tonality, so I could use that in a major way. That one doesn't sound too good. Well, there I'm back to my E5 again. That one doesn't sound too good. If I do it on F sharp, I end up with kind of an F sharp 7th suspended. If I go 1 more, maybe I get a G6th. So there were several of them that worked in that one. So the next time you need a cool sounding C major 7th, you've got something that only the guitar can do with these open strings ringing through. Well, let's think about that. If I move this form down even 2 more frets, well, switch my fingers around, and I'm back to an A2 family. So with just these 2 notes, I can get several cool chords. That's an A2. If I move this up to the 5th fret, I end up with a great sounding A minor 9th. Move it up to the 6th fret, I get a great sounding A major 9th. One more half step, I get a kind of an A suspended. Maybe an open sounding A2 there. So next time I need to play an A minor, instead of grabbing this, I might try and grab this one, and it gets a very rich sort of sound. Well, if I go down to my A2, and let's switch our fingers around and add the F sharp right there. Now I have an F sharp minor 11th. An F sharp, and this 5th string is muted. 3rd string on the E, pinky on the A, open B, open E. I move this up, well, we get some great ones in this form. F sharp minor 11th. This is kind of an E2 with a G sharp in the bass. There's our A minor 11th again at the 5th fret. If I do the 7th, I get sort of a B minor 11th. If I'm at the 9th, I get a C sharp minor 11th form. Now, there's not many other good ones after that, but I did get a few good ones there. So, wow, even in the course of going through all that, we have covered a huge amount of colorful chords, but I used only a few very familiar chord forms. Now, I've written these chord forms out for you in the music with this newsletter, so make sure you take a look at that and get some of these underneath your fingers. Experiment with your own forms. Just grab some chord that you like that has open strings and start moving it around the neck. See what you can come up with.